Would you like to make some cards with your 12 by 12 pattern paper, but you don't want the piles of scraps at the end? Hi, I'm Jess from JessCrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Today I have 12 by 12 paper busting template for A2 cards number 43. I in fact have 50 different ideas for how to turn 12 by 12 paper into A2 cards without making any pattern paper scraps. Many of them are available for free individual download at jesscrafts.com, but they're also available in the Etsy store in packs. This one is only available in the Etsy store, but like I said, there are many other previous ones that are available for free if you want to try the idea. And in today's video, I'll be really clear with the measurements so that you can recreate the card even if you decide not to purchase the templates. I'm going to work with the Candy Cane Lane collection, this plaid paper here with snowflakes on the back. I am going to use as the main paper, and then I have some tags I'll talk about in just a second, but this one, this template does work with directional patterned paper. I'm not using directional pattern paper today, particularly, I guess the snowflakes, but I don't think they are either. I wouldn't consider that directional. But it will work with directional pattern paper. You can always use single-sided paper. I do sometimes suggest if you're working with single-sided paper to use 2 patterns, and I do that in some videos so that you can see that alternative as well. In terms of this tag paper, which is also from the Candy Cane Lane collection, what I'm going to do is cut it into rectangles instead of tags. It's going to create a little bit of waste. I'm fine with that because I am still going to use almost every image. I feel like I'm going to get a really good value out of it, but I am generally going to try to cut the tops off. So the next time you see this pattern paper, it will be cut into rectangles. I won't do that on the screen because it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to cut along, these defined lines and then cut the tops off where it makes sense to. And there may be a few here and there that I need to keep as tags, but to me, it kind of speeds up the process. And when I have tags and I want to add the strings and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That adds a lot of interesting detail to them. But then, I don't know, it's just my personal preference is more simple. So I'll be doing that. So let's talk about how to cut this pattern paper according to the template. When using tools like paper trimmers, please follow all manufacturer's safety instructions. We're going to start by cutting off the branding strip. I don't consider the branding strip to be a scrap. If you do have a branding strip that has a little bit of pattern on it, I always say just take that little bit of pattern and put it on the inside of your card. Like technically there's a little bit of pattern on here. If you want to do something with that, great. That's enough for a tiny little sentiment on either side, so you can do that if you like. Then we're going to take this 12 by 12 piece and we're going to cut 3-inch strips. So I'm going to measure from one side. I will take from 12 to 9, that'll be 3 inches, to 6, and then finally to 3. One of these 3 by 12 inch pieces is going to be cut into 1-inch strips. So I'll be left with 12 1-inch strips. So I'll go 11, 10, 9, 8. I'm not going to keep doing that because I think you get the idea there, but keep going till you have 12 3 by 1-inch strips. The next 3 pieces that are already 3 by 12 inches, I am going to cut 2 half-inch strips off of the bottom. I like to cut the smallest pieces first so that I'm not working with tiny pieces in my paper trimmer. So I'm going to cut to 11.5 inches and then to 11 inches. So I have these 2 half-inch pieces. I'm going to do that on all 3 of these strips. So I'll wind up with 6 half-inch strips. Then the remaining bit that is now 11 by 3 inches, I'm going to cut in half to 5.5 inches. Okay, and I will repeat those measurements, that bit of cutting, 2 more times with these. So each card will then have 2 1-inch strips, because there were 12 of those in all, and 1 half-inch strip because I cut 6 of those. And then of course there are 6 of this background piece as well that is 3 by 5.5 inches. The next step of my process would be to add some cardstock mats. So here I would add a mat behind each piece of pattern paper, and I would find those mat measurements here on the card sketch. So my 3 by 1 inch piece would get a 3 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch mat. So my mats tend to be a 1/4 inch bigger on each side. You don't always have to add the mats. In this case, I would consider skipping them because with just the pattern papers that I chose, the plaid paper stands out just fine from the white background. If your pattern paper had more white in it, then you could just choose a colored card base instead to help with that particular contrast. And then here, my blue snowflake paper is pretty solid looking because it's monochromatic, and so it really stands out just fine off of the plaid paper. That's kind of what the mat is meant there to do there, is if two papers are too close in color or one's particularly busy, just to give your eyes a little space to rest in between. But in this case, I think it could work. Depending on your embellishment, like I had picked out some things I thought might be an embellishment here. If I did this blue embellishment on top of the blue stripes in the background, then I would feel like it would blend in, and I would either put I'd probably put a mat around the actual embellishment piece, and I could still skip the mats in the background, or just put a mat around everything. I think if you just put mats on the blue stripes of paper in the background, it wouldn't completely solve the problem. But these are just things that I can think about. So let's talk about the size of mats that I will need to cut. Each piece will need 2 mats that are the 3 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch mat size. I do happen to just have a lot of scraps of this yellow cardstock, and I thought, well, that's a little unexpected for Christmas. It worked well with this patterned paper, and it was a good way to use up some of this yellow cardstock that I just happen to have so much of. And then all of our mats are going to be 3 1/4 inch wide. So that's something to consider. And then I'm going to need 3 of them. I'm going to need 1 for each card that is 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. And then the final mat measurement is a little bit different because it's not a 1/4 inch bigger on one side. It's just 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 because my piece of patterned paper for the background here is the full length of the card, so it doesn't need that 1/4 inch bigger on the other side. So now normally I want to take advantage and use as much of that cardstock scrap as I have. However, with that 5 1/2 inch measurement and looking at my scraps, none of them appear to be along the 11 inch side of the patterned paper, and so I could wind up creating a lot of waste by using these scraps. I would rather cut the pieces that I need. So I'm going to need them to be 3 1/4. I know I can at least get 4 in all. If I cut to 3 1/4 and then cut that in half, that's 2 of them, 3 1/4 again in half, 2 more. So 4 out of this pattern paper. So what I'll start to do is cut the 8 1/2 inch side to 6 1/2 inches. Then I'll cut that in half to 3 1/4. My paper trimmer can handle 2 pieces of cardstock at one time, so I'll just put those together and cut it at the 5 1/2 inch mark. And now I have 4 of those background pieces. I need 6 in all. Maybe at this point it'd be worth it to go to scraps, but I just wanted to avoid leaving myself lots of little pieces, whereas this scrap is pretty substantial here that was left over. When I'm cutting cardstock mats, I find it helpful to track how many mats I need in all and not just for like a single card. So if I have 6 that need to be the 3 1/4 by 3/4 inch, I'll try to just cut those all at once and keep track of them and counting them, that kind of thing. Or these 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. I have this one's 3 1/4 inches wide. Now I can just start cutting 1 1/4 inches off of it, and I'll just focus on cutting that particular type of mat until I have the complete amount that I need, which in this case is 2 for every card, so 12. So just doing all that math ahead of time so that when I start cutting, I can kind of cut more like efficiently instead of, changing up the size. Because for me personally, if keeping track of all these measurements can be quite tricky. That's what I hope the value of these templates is that, you have all those measurements there ready to go for you. So I will continue to cut until I have all of the mats that I need for these cards. And another thing that I tend to do to keep everything sorted is I will take trays. You can use box lids, envelopes, whatever works for you. I like the trays because I don't have to keep pulling them in and out of a bag or an envelope or something like that. But I will put all of the pattern paper pieces I need for each card once I have a stack of all the pattern paper cut up, and then I'll take all of the cardstock that I need for a particular card and start sorting them into these trays and piles. But you also might prefer to like just keep all of these pattern paper pieces with their mats and just tape them on all at once. It depends on how you like to kind of batch process your cards. So I have assembled all of the pieces according to the sketch and the measurements that we discussed, pairing the patterned paper with the coordinating cardstock mats. This is a really large piece of cardstock in the back here, like this piece that is behind this main focal pan, or this large background piece, and a lot of it's covered up all the way to the top and bottom even. So I would suggest die cutting a like sentiment or shape or something out of the center, just so that that space that's covered up anyway, you've gotten a little bit better use out of your cardstock. That's just optional, of course, but something I like to mention as a way of being less wasteful when I'm calling for a large piece of cardstock like that. And then I cut up a bunch of the tags. As previously mentioned, I did go through and I picked ones that did not have a yellow or pink background generally, just because I felt like these cards were really good for basically anyone. Like, I know that there are guys out there who don't mind a pink card, and there are girls out there who don't love pink, right? But like, I just think there's a lot of pink in paper crafting, or a lot of more like feminine, traditionally feminine designs or whatever. So I just like to sometimes consider that. Like, you know, not everyone who's going to receive my cards wants, you know, pink and floral and all that. So when I have this opportunity to lean away from that sometimes and make the cards just a little bit more a wide appeal, I try to do that. So that was kind of my thought process there. The other thing is, because I was using a non-directional pattern paper, I felt like I could use either the horizontal or vertical, sorry, I did the opposite, of the card or these tag pieces. So basically, some of them you wanted to kind of flip on the side like this, and it doesn't really work well with this particular design. It would like cover up this middle strip, things like that. But because my background paper was non-directional, I can just turn the whole card on its side. And that's something I kind of consider when I'm making these, is that often I could put the sketch either way. However, I just kind of have to pick a way to show you. So it is something to consider when you're working with non-directional pattern paper. A lot of my card sketches can then just be turned the other way. And sometimes, even if you are working with directional pattern paper, if you're intentional about it ahead of time, you can turn the whole sketch on its side. And then this whole, like, if this was the top of your paper, now you could make horizontal cards with directional pattern paper. So just, a quick little, like, a call out there. And I did just use yellow mats for all of these. Some of them have things printed on them, like these first two. But then this one here, there was just a picture of Santa putting a star on top of a tree, and I was like, I'm not going to put a sentiment on it because there's going to be a sentiment inside. It's very clearly a Christmas card. Same here with this Santa. If you really prefer having sentiments on your card, I think there is space to stamp a sentiment. And then as I pointed out earlier, these ones with the blue background, they kind of especially needed that cardstock mat. I had originally thought about doing blue as the cardstock mat, like just picking a different color of blue, but I'm happy I went this yellow trace. These don't look like the most traditional Christmas cards, but I think that they did turn out Really cute. They're very simple. This is very beginner friendly. As you can see, I used a couple of sheets of cardstock, 2 sheets of pattern paper. So if you were trying to recreate this, it wouldn't even be very expensive, but they all look a little bit different, and really could continue this process with a few more sheets of paper, even from the same line, and get a whole variety of cards, because all of these are still left. And a lot of these are great for card sentiments. Again, I only skipped the yellows and the pinks for the reasons discussed, not because there was anything wrong with them. A lot of them have great sentiments. There's not many of these that I wouldn't put on a card. Sometimes the sentiments tend to be a little bit more like scrapbooking oriented, but I didn't find that with this particular set of pattern paper, so I would recommend that one for card makers. So that's it for my 6 cards from 1 sheet of pattern paper with no pattern paper scraps. If you found this video helpful, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.